Hello and welcome to my channel. If you'd like to come to my live Sunday night meetings or have a private session with me, you can subscribe via my website.
Isn't it interesting that nobody really wants to talk about or even look at the only one thing there just really is? Everybody wants to talk about what isn't, and I get it, All the teachings and teachers and scriptures and this and that always talk about, the religions talk about behaving well and a conscience, and some teachers talk about a higher self that you've got to reach, or something, a me that has to collapse. And it's never about just being here, which is all there is. It's interesting that nobody wants to look at that. Like, most humans are scrabbling for what isn't, because what is never good enough. And why is it? Why is it that most people are so utterly dissatisfied with life? It's an interesting question. I think it's programming, actually. So we live in this, we find ourselves in this really weird place, which is so complicated. And just being here is so uncomplicated. It's so obvious and is in everybody's experience, because it is what it is. You can't even experience it, but it is everyone's experience. Just being here. It's something that never moves. It doesn't need anything. You can't get to it because you are it. You can't have it more than others. You can't have it less than others. It just is the case that I'm just here. And any discussion around that, about, well, who is here and what's it mean to be here, is really a moot point. Because being here, being what is, doesn't require an explanation, doesn't require a justification, and it certainly doesn't require anybody telling anybody else that they're not there. And it's the most uncomplicated place about being a place. It doesn't require thinking about. It's just easy. Restful. Life itself. But nobody wants to talk about it. I went out with a couple of people this morning, and I came back so exhausted because of the amount of conversation. I mean, this one person, she just wouldn't stop speaking. I was just exhausted. There was no space just to sit and just be. It was like an onslaught. I'm not used to that. I'm not used to this rapid fire conversation. And everything that was talked about was regrets of the past and what I want in the future. There was nothing about life, love, being, wonder, freedom, freedom from the past and the future, the wonder of life, because it is a wonder, is it not? That I find myself happening. I just find myself happening. I find this happening, this body, which is not me. I don't know what it is. It's a thing that seems like it's carrying someone around, but it's not, because this someone is very amorphous. It's just being. You can't pinpoint, you can't locate that. You certainly can't define it as a me or a no me or a self or a lower self and all this stuff. It just is. It's simple. Too simple, perhaps. So simple that it's not interesting. And I find that interesting, because how can the only thing that is of any real importance, the only thing that doesn't come and go, is of no interest? The only thing that doesn't have a promise of tomorrow or a regret of yesterday is not interesting. It's the only real interest I have. Everything else is temporary. And it's not that I'm interested in it as a subject. It's just, well, I don't know what to say. It's life itself. And that's beautiful. And beyond the mind, beyond anything that can be understood or pinned down as a teaching. You can't teach. You can't teach that. You can't teach someone something they already are. You can't advise somebody how to get to have what they already have. You can just talk about the distractions away from it. Because everything else is a complete distraction. And distractions are okay in their place. But if everything is a distraction, if it's all distraction, then it's this chaotic, just chaos, just like a ball on a pinball machine, you know, battered around from circumstance to circumstance. As if that's life. That's not life, that's living. A living's like that, you know, get a bill, go out for coffee with absolute rabbit. rabbit. That's living. And all the living that goes on in it, the one thing that has never, ever moved, ever, is life, is being. Not a being, because then you get into the territory of a me and a self and a blah, 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 and all that. Just being, just simply being. I don't know how else to say it. If anybody has a better terminology than that, I would like to hear it, because there isn't any. It's too basic, it's too simple, it's too ordinary. Painfully ordinary to those that seek something great. And when something great is sought after, the real greatness, the wonder, the life, what is completely overlooked. this beingness, or whatever you want to call it, which has been there, which is always here, when you're 2, when you're 4, when you're 10, 20, 40, 80, has never moved. And it's life itself, you could say. Maybe these flowers are life. They're life forms and very beautiful. Yellow nose now. Beautiful. But they'll die. They'll die. I'll chuck them away in a few days. Pick them from a bit of wasteland. Life forms, they all die. Everything goes, everything arrives, all the time. Things seem so important, so interesting. This is so interesting, this thing I'm into right now. But it'll go, it'll go. It'll pass away, like everything else. As it should be. Imagine if everything stayed the same all the time. And this is the thing with looking for a permanent solution to living. And there is no permanent solution to living, as we all know, because we all know it, we all experience that. There's no permanent solution to that. But the only thing that is, I can't say permanent, but the only thing that is, which never changes, is just being here. Just what is. In what is, all these things come and go. All teachings come and go. How many of us have been through the mill of teachings? And people who have something that I don't. When we have the one thing, the only thing that never changes and is not special to anybody. Oh, how painful it is for some people. Because we've been taught that we have to be something more than what we are. You can't be more than being. Any more than being, which is everything, is a temporary place or state. It'll go like everything else, like the flowers. Beautiful in the moment, then it withers and dies because nothing's ever satisfactory to the personality, let's say, that believes in something better for itself. And even living conditions. Yeah, I can have nicer living conditions, but so what? I had a skincare company years and years ago, a really successful one. I made a lot of money. I was able to fly off all over the world and buy anything I wanted. And I gave it all up. Blew them all up, blew it. Couldn't stand it. It was a burden, if anything, a burden. It's less of a burden to be skin, in a way. Maybe not completely poor. I'm sure that's a terrible burden, you know. So that can come and go. None of it's important. It just feels important at the moment, but it's not. Think of all the things that we've thought were important and then gone, not important anymore. But being, life, is beyond importance or no importance. It's beyond naming. I mean, some people call it boundless energy. I don't know if it's boundless energy. I don't know if it's energy. I don't know. Because then, people who are looking for it, which is such an irony, are then looking for some sort of energy. So you put energy in the equation, it's like, oh, energy, I've got to see this energy. Someone once asked me at a talk, when I look at the teapot, what do I see? As if like I see some energy. I see a teapot. As if like I have something. It misses the point. I can't even say I have nothing, because that's just another idea, to have nothing. I neither have nothing or something. I'm just sitting here. Just sitting here. It's nothing to speak of. There's nothing to speak of. I have nothing. Or I'm in not knowing. There's not even that. There's no need to not know or know. It's just being here. Simple. The mind needs to not know. Sort of an ironic statement. Or know. Being here doesn't need to know or not know. It doesn't need anything. Doesn't need to be found or lost or anything. The mind wants to go somewhere else. The mind will never get to just being here, because there's no way. You can't get to it. You can't get to it. It just is the natural way, the natural state. You can't call it a state. It's not personal. It just is. It just is. Your life. Your life.